good morning, good evening, good every time, wherever you're tuning. My name is Brother Freedom, and welcome to the Freedom Bible Podcast. Yes, good morning, good evening, good every time, wherever you're tuning in from. My name is Brother Freedom, and welcome to the Freedom Bible Podcast. This is the only way where you get your freedom suited in your place and sound at your right and the right time. Wow, man, this room got a lot of echoes, So apparently today I was supposed to shoot a certain show, but it didn't go as planned because the person who was supposed to shoot the show with had some other appointments that were he thought maybe was so important than our appointment. And so what do you say? It's actually one of the ways of I always think like, for example, what if some people were asked to be interviewed with some other people, like for example, they asked to be interviewed by BBC, will they say that I have important time to do, I have important things to do? Yeah, what's up? They'll actually cancel every plan that I had in their minds to be able to fit into the system. So assisting the system as a way of fixing us into certain situations. So since I had carried my equipment along, I just told myself, you know what? We can as well do this show because of the people we love. Since a few days to come, I'll be traveling to Kisumu, and yes, actually, this is one of my last shows that I'm doing in Nairobi. One of the beautiful shows. I'll do a show with IT Intelligence before I leave Nairobi, and I'll actually be joining Kisumu for the better part of the year. Thank you so much for those people who have always been supportive. I haven't said hi to you. Hi, hello, my viewers. How are you doing? Yes. And Kisumu, I am coming very soon. It's such an amazing place, such an amazing place, such an amazing place as usual. So, as we are discussing with a friend of mine, I'm going to say hi to you. Hi, my people. How are you doing? Tell me, where are you watching this from? What year are you watching this? Those who are here in 2030, 2040, 2050. Yeah, what's up? How are you doing? It's on my early years. Today is my birthday. Today is on 2023, the 5th month, 10th. It's actually around 5. Apparently today I had some errands to run. I don't really celebrate my birthday that much because there is really nothing to celebrate about. I just to thank God because of my life. I would have spent part of my day at church as usual to just thank God for this sweet and operational day. Because come to think of it, I've only lived 8,165 days on this planet. I mean, and you can also see my haircut. Haircut was done by a friend of mine. I found another new barber. It's an amazing barber, affordable, very affordable. He's doing such an amazing haircut. Someone I'm not done. So let me comment. Let me feel how you feel. You understand? So today we're going to talk about communication in a larger perspective of a story. You understand? Being free to be able to communicate with people regardless of your intimidation, what you feel, what you think, or what they think about you. You understand? A lot of us find ourselves in barriers because we are unable to give out the communication required at certain lengths to be able to accommodate the situations of our viewers or the people who are watching us or the people we are related to. For example, today I had a meeting with a pastor at Deliverance Church in Tawala. I was trying to explain to him of how Man of God show is all about. Then I found myself that I talked from moment, but unfortunately, when I found I lacked a word to output or to close my speech to be able to summarize everything that I was talking about towards him. So in conclusion, I found myself out of nowhere asking him, "Do you understand?" But instead of this guy replying that I understand, this guy was like, "I hear you." It clicked something in my mind that sometimes we may tend to think that we are talking for people to understand us, but yet we are talking just for people to listen at us. Does it make sense? A lot of you guys, you talk, You talk to different people, but at the end of the day, people don't understand what you're saying because at Hillary, you're not actually talking to them in a sense to make them understand. I'll take you back to school. Back to school, there are teachers who could teach a certain subject or could teach a certain topic, and you could understand that more. You could, even during the remedial class, you'll always say, like, I'll prefer to go to teacher so and so because it teaches me appropriately. It makes me understand. What makes the difference of a person to understand? Listen, a very influential guy in our current social media said, Andrew Tate, let me mention him, give credit where it's due. He said he went on a trip to, he wanted to buy Bugatti. So he met this guy, he was given an invite to a certain billionaires club. He is giving his story of wanting to buy Bugatti, but Bugatti is one of the expensivest cars on the planet right now, considering it's only sold on a limited edition. And before, when they launch new Bugattis, they call the previous owners of Bugatti, they call billionaires, people who meet there are actually either influential physically or materially, you understand, and spiritually. So since Andrew wanted to buy a Bugatti, he went out to a car dealership. He asked them, "Can I buy Bugatti?" Since these people are so used so much to people for so many kinds of jokers, they never took time to take serious. But on him persuading them time to time, he was given a letter with a regional, I don't know, a regional manager, I don't know, regional salesperson, I don't know if they go. Then this regional person had to conduct him, had to invite him over to a meeting. Submitted for the pilot. I'm beginning to hate these pilots. My tent is still want to buy some jets. It's my 30 I'll be having some few jets in my yard. You know what yourself. So back to our topic. So unmuted, he goes to is invited to certain meetings, given an invite. So when he comes there, you meet a lot of great influential people. People who are smart, people who've made billions, millionaires, trillionaires, if there is be every kind of person in status, who in matters concerning wealth. It was the billionaires club. You see, the previous owners of Bugattis, the CEOs of different companies, you understand that. So, and as you all understand, his stories coming from a kickboxing champion, 4 times multi-million world kickboxing champion, to actually being one of the most global person on the planet, having the kind of wealth that he has, in consideration to the kind of lifestyle that he's been brought to since he was a little child coming from a poor background. And Annotate explains sitting there, that everybody was sitting there actually telling their stories of different places, where they'd come from, their beginning. And the owner of the Bugatti, the CEO, I think is mentioned about the CEO. The CEO was telling a story of how he went to Dubai trying to sell the new version of Bugatti to the current prince in Dubai, but the prince ended up putting him in a dungeon full of, of cheetahs and leopards. No, it was so funny of how people were talking. It's so fascinating because and Richard says that it's so hilarious that when these billionaire people meet, they don't actually talk about business plan or their current move, whatever they're investing into the next, and how the money in the cash flow is flowing. You understand? They actually discuss, they actually give stories. And everybody was giving stories and giving stories and giving stories. And everybody was being respected in accordance with the kind of story they give. You understand? Then it came to time for Andrew Tate to tell his story of how he was all the processes that he had gone in life, starting from living with the father who was playing a chess player, then his father died, he had to live with his mother, they had to move out, he had to go and fight for kickboxing, his brother was working in, I don't know, in KFC or I don't know where, in Starbucks, of how they used to go and collect KFC, you know the story, and all the experiences in life. And at the end of the meeting, everybody was interested to be a friend of Andrew Tate. You You understand? So this sojourned in, because you understand that a lot of people have different people. That's why I was talking about communication. It came to him that communication is one of the most basic things that a person needs in this life to be able to survive or to be able to live a well-free life. Because a lot of us have a lot of things to ask from people or have a lot of stories to tell to people. But unfortunately, our mode of communications, how do we communicate a certain processes to people, is what puts us out of business. You understand? You are as good as the words that come out of your mouth. Even the scripture itself said, it's not what goes into a man that defines a man, but what comes out of the man that defines a man. The Bible talks about the tongue being the most smallest organ in the body, but yet it can enlighten further. How much do you communicate? Even in your prayer. Remember, prayer is communication to God. Do you understand? Whatever you pray to, I don't know, but one of the key basic things, prayer is communication to God. How do you communicate to God? You understand? You must be able to communicate to God in a most articulate way. Let Him understand what you think, what you feel, or what you want. No. So Andrew talks about that everybody has a story. Even me, I have a story. One of the basic things of living is actually a story. We live by a story from a person who's born in a rich family, he grew well, is now running the businesses of his fathers. We live by that story. We live by the story of the son of Bob Kalemo. We live by the story of the daughter of Bill Gates. We live by that story. No. But tell me, we live by the story of Martin Luther King's son. Yes, because everybody likes a fascinating story, a story that was built from scratch. We all have to understand that even though these great people of the world have different kind of stories, one of the attributes that they had is storytelling, is communication. How much are you able to communicate your ideas to the next person? Albert Einstein said, if you cannot explain it to a 6 years old until he understands, then you don't understand it to your own self. How sweet is your story? Every time I see British giving what we call that BGT, the introduction is always about the story of the person that is coming to share their talent. And a lot of these people, they win these awards not because they are so talented, they are super talented and everything, but because of the story of their background. Understand, your story is your legacy. That's why I always tell people, in this life, you must be able to live and experience every point of this life. You don't have to stress out, you don't have to complain, you don't have to cry, because understand, there's nothing that tests a man that is not able, that the man doesn't have, is not able to accommodate the strength of that potential. God tested a man with according to his own strength. I want to be tested with something that is much bigger than what I think or what I can handle. You understand? So enjoy the rain, enjoy the sun, enjoy the moon, enjoy the dark, enjoy the sky, enjoy the cloud, enjoy the warmth, enjoy the sweetness, enjoy the sorrow, enjoy the pain. You understand? Because in this life, it's all about, it's something that, it's all about how do we experience it in a larger perspective? How do you experience this life? Somebody said that people are so obsessed with success until one day when they reach to success and they realize, whoa, the happiness was not in the success, the happiness was not in the journey. Take, for instance, when you're going for a road trip, is it the destination so necessarily than the journey? No. It's the journey, the pictures you take on the road, the conversation you have, the people you compete with on the road. That is how life is. Life is actually a journey that is yet to be experienced. And after this journey, we ought to understand that there is basic ways that we need to tell our stories. And you as a free man today, I'm telling you, maybe in the next episode, I'll be taking on how you can be able to tell your story in a more broader perspective. One of the skills that you need to do in this life, you need to be able to tell your story. You need to be able to communicate effectively to make people come in the same page as you. You understand? Tell them your story. Write it down. You understand? Now, there's this fear of people saying, I cannot be exclusive. I don't know what. What the fuck will God put you into such condition if He doesn't want you to tell those stories to people so that you can inspire people? That is what actually made me do this interview today, because I'm having an interview with somebody. Then this person just says to me that there's some question they cannot ask. Why the fuck will I come to ask you and not ask some other questions? Why? What does it benefit me? What? You tell me, what does it benefit me? As if somebody who's going to watch this TV or who's going to watch this show, when it reaches certain stages of life, is going to skip those stages. Look, we are human beings. We are born to live and depend on each other. There's nobody who's an island. Nobody can stand alone. Nobody on this planet can stand alone. Even Jesus himself, the Son of God, who was God himself, when you read the book of Ephesians, he was the same level with God, but he had to live his glory. You understand? God himself decided to work with the people. In the Garden of Eden, God himself was working, was every day in the evening. He used to come and chill with Adam before Adam and Eve fall into sin. You understand? What was the reason of God chilling with his people? It was storytelling. It is story time. Why are other people always the greatest? Why is Messi the GOAT? Why is Ronaldo the GOAT? Because of the story that they have to tell. I know a lot of footballers who are so tougher than Messi. That's what people always say. I know a lot of footballers who are tougher than Ronaldo. I know a lot of footballers who can't even they can't even score using their tongue or their teeth or their eyes by just looking at the ball and it scores. But why don't we hear about these people? Because they're unable to tell their stories, because they don't have a story. That's why, at the end of the day, a man is always valuable because of how they are able to communicate their story. Be able to communicate. That is one of the attributes I'm actually learning right now. The ability. You've understood the previous 3 shows you've seen. I've been able to do those shows in pure English. Because you understand, I came to realize that Swahili is just a minimum. It's just like 3% of the world speaks Swahili. You understand? And the idea of, I came across a certain tweet that says that Europeans forced us to learn English. That is kind of slavery. So, and if you don't learn English, I don't know, you should be laughed at and everything, you should be mocked. But, and this guy placed the challenge and said that, let's now take, whenever a European doesn't learn our language like Kikuyu or Swahili, we should laugh at them. And I always think each and every day, I'm a thinker. I like to meditate. I like to think. I have to be able to make my mind to be able to create solutions and situations that are creating solutions that are solving problems. So, for instance, today, before money came into the streets, we used to have what we used to call barter trade. People used to take things in exchange of things. Understand? But out of the consciousness of people came and understand, because it's not every value that can be accommodated with in exchange of value, because some other time people tend to over accelerate the price, or they tend to demean the price. You understand? So they understood that money is going to be a form of exchange. Now, because in your past or in your village you are taught to do exchange with properties, now you want to come and tell me that you cannot go buy a car using cash because you feel that you are intimidated. It's not actually intimidating. It's actually placing yourself in a form that can be valuable in all aspects, regardless of where you're coming from. People feel like because you're coming from a certain place, you should be given utmost respect. You should be treated like an angel. Even an angel, when they come from heaven, people are shocked. People are shocked when some others die. You understand? The ability to be updated unto yourself and to be able to tell a story that is unique. Your story. How unique is your story? There's a lot of people who are passing with troubles each and every day. But how come you don't hear from them? Because they are unable to tell their story. Look for the right channels to be able to run your story through, to be able to tell your story as it is in the best version possible. My mom used to tell me when I open my mouth, Akaribanga so much is important. Every time I open my mouth, I should be able to tell something that is more peculiar that can make people more interested about me. You understand? Look, in the Bible, Abraham told his stories. Why is the Bible one of the most read book in the world? Because of the story. Because of the stories in it. Until today, magazines are still selling, regardless of the technology that we have right now. Why is YouTube selling? Because YouTube and Netflix, these are ways people used to tell their stories. That is why you go back at home and take a certain movie, and watch it on your TV. Is because these people found a way that they could tell their stories. You understand? Telling your story and being able to accommodate it with emotional, being able to accommodate it with sense of humor is what puts you on top of business. Regardless of whatever the place is, you have to be outsmart, you have to learn on how to answer specific questions. You have to put the audience in synchron with whatever you are telling them that you want to. You have to make the imagination of people burn up and connect to whatever reality you are taking your place into. That is the reality of things. You understand? So be able to tell your story in as much as way, in as much as concealable place you are. It's only your story that can take you from places to places. Learn to tell your story, and whatever you're passing through this life, make sure you experience it to the uttermost memory. You understand? Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Brother Freedom, and this is the Freedom Bible podcast. And in case we didn't mention anything, one of the ways of freedom is actually storytelling. Be able to communicate, learn to communicate, enter into cyber and teaching you to communicate. Communication is key. My people die because of lack of knowledge. So today I've given you the knowledge. Number one key knowledge: learn how to communicate. Communication puts you on top of business, on top of the structure. How do you communicate? How do you communicate? How do you respond to this communication? That is quite necessary. You are as tradable as to us as much as the information and communication that you are able to display at certain places. You understand? You understand. The secrets that you have are so important and valuable because of how much you can communicate. Take this for instance: if a low-life girl has had sex with maybe a superstar, and this superstar sees this low-life girl, she's not able to tell her story. Do you think the superstar will be feared? But what if this superstar is sleeping with somebody who's well-educated and knows how to tell their stories? You understand? Like few days ago, we saw a lady it's called Aoko, Maverick Aoko, on Twitter, actually exposing some of the stories in a more organized. But you know why it was interesting? Because of how she was communicating. She started like making the people have the cloud, make the people understand, arrange a point, tweet after tweet. She could balance our emotion within. She came like from 60K followers to 80K followers within a span of 2 hours. Isn't that fascinating? It is. You all should learn how to tell your stories. Even in court, when it comes to the level of defense, how much are you able to tell your story to make people believe? That is what matters at the end of the day, actually. Learn how to tell your story. Communication is key. The story education is key, they lie. Now I'm telling you, communication is key. Communicate of how you think, not really actually on mouth alone, but actually appear on actions. All right, my people, we come to the end of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Brother Freedom, aka the Dancing Mountain, aka the beginning and the end, aka what it does, what it does it, it doesn't do what it does, so don't do what it does. We'll be setting up our studio very soon. I know this ACOS and everything is going to be reduced to 0%, 0%. Those who are actually supporting the show, thank you so much. God bless you. God bless you. Find us on any social media platform, and make sure you learn something from us each and every day. You see, make sure you're doing each and every day is a day for you to learn, it's a day for you to communicate, it's a day for you to invite people into your life who are so important. Those people who are not important, make sure you see yourself from those. Until the next episode, don't touch a dial. This is actually episode number 40. Number 40, just like Jesus for the 40 days, and today is my birthday. You know what I'm talking about. So, and remember, take care of your heart, for it come on issues of life. Goodbye.